The other thing I'm going to be doing when we do our official rollout on this campaign is challenging the legislature to make this campaign irrelevant. And I do hope, as the voices behind this campaign rise, and as the numbers of people who have donated, even small dollar amounts, to make the statement, I hope as that happens, the legislature will beat me to the ballot box. I hope that they will finally get the message that they need to change these laws and not make the children of Florida wait for this to get to the ballot box. So that is going to be my challenge to them. My challenge to anyone who wants to support this campaign is very simple. Get me 5 signatures, get me 5 donors, any dollar amount will be fine, so that these voices are heard. That's the goal. I have a flyer, which I have with me today. It's also available to be printed out from my website. The petition form is also on the website. When you talk to people about this campaign, they can donate on the website directly with credit cards, or if they're more comfortable, they can mail a check. There's directions for that on the website as well. There's also a portion of the website dedicated to what I call the response to our critics. It is the basic information, the statistics, the data that answers the criticisms that the church and the legislators have lobbied against this effort in the legislature. I think the case is compelling. And I can tell you, during the last 5 years, while this effort has been going on in the legislature, child predators and organizations that have failed to protect children have continued to use the statute of limitations to stop prosecutions from going forward. I had a conversation about a month ago with a lawyer in Miami who just had a case derailed by the 3rd District Court of Appeal under what we call the Herndon Doctrine. And this is a case that was filed against the Catholic Church for abuse of a child by a priest. And what the Herndon Doctrine is a doctrine that says if the victim responds by creating what's called traumatic amnesia, meaning the child victim shuts out the information and it only becomes recalled later as they start their recovery process. In that instance, there has been what's called a delayed discovery. You can't report something that your mind has shut out based upon stress reactions. The church has said to me during the legislative process, that doctrine is enough. What did the church argue to the 3rd District Court of Appeal? That it shouldn't apply to the church. And they won that argument. And that argument's going up on appeal. Now, I find it unconscionable that the church would go to the 3rd District Court of Appeal and make that argument after having assured me, and I've got a letter from the church assuring me that the Herndon Doctrine was sound, that it was good public policy, and it was all we needed. I was shocked to find out the argument had been made, and I'm very, very disappointed. But it underscores why this campaign is so critical, because the church's lawyers are going to continue to do everything they can do to limit more and more of these cases. And the impact on the victims is severe. No child asks for this, and the costs of recovery are enormous. All right, the cost of my recovery approaches 6 figures out of my pocket. In severe cases, the cost can run into the millions. The victim deserves for the perpetrator, or the person who put them in the way of the perpetrator, to pay for that. Now, when I use that word, the perpetrator, I've gotten probably 6 letters from the church over the years, from church representatives or from church officials, saying, well, we don't mind, Michael, if we change the laws pertaining to the actual perpetrator. Those are the key words, actual perpetrator. Let me tell you what I say about that. These are my car keys. If I hand these keys to somebody who's intoxicated, and they get behind the wheel of the car, and they drive down the street, and they hit someone and kill them, I go to jail too, as if I was driving that car. And as far as I'm concerned, somebody who places a child in harm's way is an actual perpetrator. And that is why I don't buy the church's argument that they should be excluded from these laws. And I can tell you that I have been in treatment with dozens and dozens of people who are suffering who never needed to be there if a church or a daycare center or a school had simply done their job of protecting that child when they took that child into their confidences. It's really that simple. And again, I believe that the majority of people of Florida agree with that analysis, and I think they will sign these petitions and vote yes when it comes time to do so. That's what this campaign's about, and I appreciate any support that you can lend. So, if there's any questions, I'm happy to address them.